Hi, this is Anusha. Do you mind taking 10 seconds of your time to rate and review us on any platform that you're listening to? This will really help other people find our podcast and we would greatly appreciate it. We do really want to meet other people. We really want to include more people into this community. We want to meet people that are also transitioning in their 20s. So we would really appreciate you taking the time to do that. Thank you so much. And now let's get into the episode.
Wait, but we don't have to have it figured out.
Guess what he said?
That's what
No,
they
not
say.
again.
But sometimes it's like,
I know.
there's so much free will.
But how?
It's okay, take it easy.
I know. Life is hard.
But then we have
It's so hard. We have to figure so many things out. Money, marriage,
No, I don't understand my
relationships.
friends.
Yeah, sometimes it's just so confusing.
I love you.
Having like a therapy session here right now.
Or maybe it's just conversations over coffee. I hate confronting
Hot
people.
chocolates. I would love a hot chocolate right now.
Do you want to start a podcast?
Let's do it. Welcome back to the 20s in Transition podcast, everyone. We are your hosts, Anusha Khannan and
Likita Gopinath. And in this episode, we're going to be talking about 5 things we each learned this year. It can be lessons, it can be skills or habits, anything like that. And this is episode 5, if I'm not wrong.
yeah, I think so. It's 5. We missed an episode and we really hope you guys are safe and sound and, let us know if you want any help. But yeah, I think this is episode 5. I can't remember.
Yeah. Wow. So, Anusha, what's the first thing on your list of things you learned this year?
Yeah, I didn't even tell her. So this is all a suspense.
Yeah.
For me, the first thing is I think I even thought about this before going into 2023, which was not to take anything personal from people that are not in my personal life. That was the first thing that I learned, and it has really worked out well for me in terms of like just people that I've met recently. I decided that I wouldn't take anything, whatever they say, I'm not going to take it personally because they don't know me personally. And I think I'm going to implement this with my personal life people as well. Like not taking things, it's not always about me. It's got nothing to do with me. And I think that's the mindset that I'm trying to cultivate. It's very hard, but I think it's really helping me out. That's the first thing. What about you? What's your first thing?
Yeah, it's almost very similar to yours. So the first thing is not reacting instead of responding, right? No matter what it is, if I have a small argument at home or with friends, I try to take some time before I respond to them. It's always very important for you to make sure you're in the right mind space before you're ready to have the conversation, or if it's just an argument or anything. And this actually came up when I was driving. So you know how it is to drive in India, no, especially Chennai. Oh my God. People are ruthless on the roads, especially two-wheelers, bikes. Oh my God. I have huge road rage. Like I cannot just take it when people drive rashly, or when they just don't follow basic road rules. So I am a very petty driver. Okay, I'm not very proud of it. If someone's intimidating me, especially if you're a woman on the road, people just like intimidating you with their car or bikes. It's just very common and I hate it. So when someone does that, like I show them what they did to me on the road, and after a few hours I regret doing it. I'm like, why did I react like this? What's the difference between me and that man on the road right now? So it came up when I was actually driving, but it actually applies to your relationships as well, your arguments and everything. So I feel like the more I take time and respond to someone, the more I'm proud of myself. I don't have that kind of a guilty feeling or that embarrassment saying, oh my God, I reacted like this. I just shouldn't have reacted like this. At that time, it feels like the right thing to do, to lash out or like to give it back to them. But I'm telling you, trust me, if you take that time and respond in a more, calm way, at the end of the day, I'd be really proud of myself. I'm like, thank God I did not take the wrong way. Thank God I did not react like that. Thank God I did take some time and, react in a more calm way. So that's the first thing that I learned. And yeah, what's yours? What's the second thing that you learned this year?
The second thing is my space, if it's not clean, my mind is not clean. And for me, it's like, let's say that I have like 15 Amazon boxes. Not that I'm buying 15 Amazon stuff, but let's say I have 15 Amazon boxes on my floor. It just really makes me, I don't know, I wouldn't say mad. It just gets to me. I don't like it when my space is not clean. And I think even in the last vlog that we did, I was showing my desk and I was like, it's not clean, it's not clean. I mentioned that like 500 times. exaggerating. But I just think that when my space is not clean, my mind is not clean, and I'm not able to function properly. So I'm like, once I cleared it, I feel better, and I'm actually able to be more creative and more, focused on whatever it is that I'm doing. That is another thing that I learned about myself this year. I used to be this kid when I was in eighth grade. I used to like just take the mop and start like cleaning the floor. My mom was like, "What's wrong with this kid?" Like she's talked about this to me. She's like, "Why are you like this?" I'll start cleaning my mirror. I'll keep things organized. But there's also another side of me that will keep stuff like piling up clothes everywhere. And then one fine day I'll be like, yeah, I'm gonna clear this. I've realized that that's only because I have something else on my mind that's occupying most of the space and energy. And once I feel like, okay, if I clear this, everything in my life is going to be okay. And it ends up being okay. I don't know how that happens. I don't know if there's a scientific reason behind that. Probably we should do some research on that. But definitely, it has really helped me this last year. And that's something I've been focusing on. What about you? What's your second thing?
So my second thing is, um, I did my diving certification, right? So now I'm a certified diver. So it was really eye-opening, that whole experience of being underwater and, traveling. So this time I went to the Maldives in June or July. And honestly, in Maldives, there's not much to do, right? It's not like Bali or something. It's basically like a
I wouldn't
honeymoon
know.
spot. Oh, sorry. Yeah, now you do. But there's not really much. There are like, I think there are some 1,000 islands, Maldives, and all of them just have few hotels, a few buildings, not much to do, just water right around. And this time I was really forced to stay in my room and stay with myself, because there was really no partying, no alcohol, nothing. I just had to go to my dive shop, dive for like 3 hours in a day, 3 or 4 hours in a day, come back and sit by myself. Like it was so eye opening. Like my entire life just flashed through my eyes those 6 days that I stayed. So my course was only 4 days, but I extended 2 days. I was like, okay, I'll find something to do. But there really wasn't anything to do. All I had to do was I just did a couple of activities, but let's say out of 24 hours, I slept for like 6, and the rest, I think 12 hours was just plain me sitting in the room and just thinking. And it really, I really thought about some turning points in my life, and then a lot of introspection happened. And then I'm like, why did I do this? And I really found answers for some of them, if not all. But a couple of them I did find answers, and it was life changing. And being underwater gives you that perspective. I cannot just connect the two, but honestly, just being in a different country all by yourself and being underwater, it does. I know it sounds crazy to some people. What, you go under the water and you got an enlightenment or what? No, it actually is true. I cannot explain it, but it's just it's just a different thing. And it made me realize that, oh my God, I really need to travel more. I need to travel alone more and be under the water more. Just gives you a lot of perspectives in life. I don't know if it makes sense, but it eventually connects the dots, for me at least. So that's the second thing I learned. And what's yours, Anusha? What's your third thing?
I think my third thing is very similar to yours. It's about living alone. That has been such a transformative factor in my life. I've been living alone for over 1.5, I think, or one year and 3 months, I think. And I know a lot of people didn't want me to live alone. Like before I moved from Chennai, a lot of people are like, don't live alone. You'll feel so lonely. You should have roommates, especially in a new country. You should have people around you. I just never felt lonely. I felt like I had so much inner work to do that it was such a peaceful time for me. I still feel that way. I don't feel like I need a roommate right now. I know a lot of people might be like, are you bored already? Like, are you ready to have roommates? I'm like, no, there's still so much that I have to do that I don't think I can do if I have a roommate. Because I feel like when you have roommates, you're just constantly relying on them, right? So I have friends in the US that live with roommates, and I've constantly heard them tell like, oh, my friend didn't load the dishwasher. Oh, she didn't do that. Oh, he didn't do that. I'm like, I don't have that problem because if I don't do that, it's going to stink. The kitchen's going to stink if I don't do the work that I'm supposed to do. And I think it's really helped me think about, that at the end of the day, we're all going to go alone. If you know what I mean, we're all going to go alone at the end of the day, the journey that we're all going to take. And I think when you reach that point, if you have been so dependent on someone, it kind of does not make sense. And it's kind of like a new adventure that you take on at that time. For me, I want to be able to look back and say, I lived alone for a couple of years by myself. I did everything. I paid all the bills. I made money. I cleaned my room. If I had people over after they left, I had to clean stuff. I had to keep my house clean. I have to take care of my safety. A lot of different things that I didn't experience when I was back in Chennai at home with my parents. Because I mean, I'm an only child. I was spoiled. I was so spoiled. I would just sit on my bed, ask my mom for food and coffee and whatever. And I get that. And this was such a new experience because if I get up in the morning, I have to think about what am I going to make for breakfast? What am I going to do? Am I going to have coffee or am I going to have lemon water? Like there's so many choices that I have to make, which will directly impact me throughout the day. And I think that's such a huge lesson for me this year. And I will continue doing that for as long as I can. And I would definitely recommend that, for people also like travel alone or live alone. It's such a huge experience. I know it seems very daunting at first, but when you give it a try, it changes so many things. It changes your whole way of looking at the world and how you look at yourself. You learn so many things about yourself. If you're standing in line to like get your passport stamp, like that's such a nervous moment for you to be in, right? Like you're like, am I going to get through? Like, what am I going to say? Because I'm that kind of a person who had like friends go and order Domino's. I'd just be sitting. I'm like, I'm not going to come and talk. I'm not going to order. I'm not going to ask for that ketchup. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. But then from that to this, where I had to like talk to everyone, set up electricity, set up gas, set up so many things by myself was just such a transformative thing for me. What about you? What's your next thing?
Wow, that's really nice. My third thing is trying to find comfort in uncertainty. So basically, life is very uncertain, right? You really don't know what's going to come at you or what is going to happen the next day. And me personally, I know a lot of people can relate to this, including you. It's just very unsettling, right? You just, especially when you're at this age where you're trying to figure out, what you want to do in life, what your purpose is, things like that. It's so that situation is so unsettling. You just feel very uncomfortable, not knowing what's coming in the future. And for me, I think this year has been, I think 2023, I think one of the biggest turning points in my life. I'm not saying that lightly, but so many things learned this year. But I'm now, I think, let's say I'm a 20% into finding comfort in not knowing what's going to be my future. Although it's very difficult, right? It's very difficult for a lot of us to get there, to be okay with not knowing what the future holds. So I think that's one of the main things that I've learned this year, that it's okay not to know what's coming in your life. That's part of life, right? It's not going to be as exciting if you know what's going to happen tomorrow. So I try to look at it that way, and I think that's one of the biggest things I've learned this year. What's your fourth thing?
I think my fourth one is this was a very conscious choice, by the way. Surrounding yourself with the right people. I've consciously taken an effort to cut people out of my life. And I don't mean in like a toxic, like drama way. I mean in like a very conscious effort, right? Like I want to be surrounded by people that want good things for me, that are proud of things that I'm doing and can slap me in my face and say that what you're doing right now is wrong. It's not going to end well for you. I want people like that in my life right now. And I think I've definitely gone, through the years, just having people that come into my life and just have them be there. And that has not worked out. It has not worked out well for me. So I took a very conscious decision. I was like, you know what? These people are serving something in my life. These people are not. I don't want to keep these people in my life. Yes, you can be in my life, but keep a distance. You can still be in my life. I'm happy for you. You can be happy for me. And I just think it's a very important thing that people can do because it'll really help you understand yourself and also like who really want good things for you. Who do you want good things for? It's not just about you. You should also want good things for them. I think it's very important to find friends, anybody, not just friends, like anybody, even professional. You need to find people around you that want the best things for you, that want you to be well in life. When I say that, it's not just about like wanting to be well, but not wanting to be better than them. That is not what I mean. Even if you're better than them, they should be okay with that. They should be like, yeah, you do so much work, you deserve this. That's the kind of people I'm, looking to surround myself with. And yeah, what about you?
My fourth lesson or thing that I've learned is To put myself out there more on the internet. So, I mean, this whole podcast is me stepping out of my comfort zone, right? I've never been great at public speaking or like just showing myself or my face on the camera, and I love taking pictures of things and other people, but not me a lot, in the past. And this podcast has helped me so much. It's helped me articulate things that I feel, my experiences, and everything. So, honestly, this whole initiative, like our podcast and my public page, which I thought 1,000 times before starting it, I'm like, am I really ready to put myself out there, to random strangers on the internet? But I think that came from a fear of what other people would think and, people judging me. But now I'm not saying that I really don't care. It does affect me, but I think I care a little less about what other people would think about me, even my friends or people that I really don't know about. So that's a huge thing. I mean, I'm not there yet. Yesterday I was trying to record a video of myself. This is coming on What's Next, Likita. Stay tuned. But I was trying to record a video of myself talking about something, and I felt so awkward. I'm like, I had so many pauses. I'm like, am I really going to post this on the internet? So things like that. And I try to remind myself saying that really nobody really cares that much to even judge in the first place. And even if they do, why do I care? So I'm trying to remind myself of that every day. And it's okay to put yourself out there if you want to be out there. So, yeah, that's my fourth lesson learned. What's your fifth and the last one, Anusha?
Yeah, I think it kind of ties back into what you were saying, which is self-rejection. I have been a master of that. I've definitely hesitated to put myself in positions where I just think I'm not that I'm not good enough, but I'm not like the right fit for it. And I think a lot of us do that. We self-sabotage so much. And I think for me, starting all of these podcasts, starting my website, doing a blog, being a dancer, like all of these things, I have definitely self-rejected. I have definitely told who's going to listen to my podcast? Who's going to want to watch me dance? But I think at the end of the day, it's not about, and I think when we think about that, we're thinking about people that we have in our life, right? That we have in our lives. It's not about those people though. Like, I do not care if none of my friends that follow me on Instagram right now follow me on my public profile. I do not care about that. Especially, I mean, of course, like, except a few of my best friends. If you don't follow me, I am not having you as my friend anymore. But I think, except for that, like people that I barely know, people that are in my life, just because I've met them once or twice, I do not sincerely care if they do not follow me, because I think I want to reach the right kind of people. I want to reach the right kind of audience. It's not about reaching the 300, 400 followers I have on Instagram. Like, I do not, I appreciate you if you support me, love you for that. But I'm not going to get tensed over who is not following me on my public profile. I do not care. If you do not want to support me, that's fine. Because I think a lot of the times when my friends start something and I just don't know what they're talking about, I probably just like, I'm going to mute your public profile because I don't understand what you're talking about. I think that's completely fine. I'll follow you and all, but I'm just going to mute you because I don't understand it. I just don't know. It doesn't resonate with, because I think it's also very important to remember that your feed, nobody can decide who's going to come and bother you there. It's your feed and you're trying to learn something or just get entertained. And if that is not something that's going to entertain you, it's okay to mute them. You can go and visit them if they want your support. They can ask you and you can support them. All of that is fine. But I think it's important to recognize that your friends equals not equals your followers. You need to like surround yourself with people that appreciate the content that you're creating, whatever it is, your work that you're putting out there. It is not about people who know you, because I think at the end of the day, when I see my friends liking the stuff that I'm putting out there, yes, I appreciate your support, but at the end of the day, I'm like, you know me. That's why you're supporting me. What if you didn't know me? Would you still like what I'm putting out there? Am I doing a good job? I think that's what's driving me. That's what's important to me. If like a random stranger or random people that I just met somewhere once comes up to me and tells me that, hey, I love what you put out there. I love your podcast. That makes me so happy, because that means I've actually impacted someone. And that's what I want to do. And I think, yeah, that's something that I've really learned this year. When I started my first podcast, which is a marketing woman, I really thought to myself, like, everybody's going to listen to it. All my followers are going to want to know. And they did the first few episodes. I think that goes for our podcast as well. Like, everybody wanted to know what we were doing. But I think we've been talking about this too. It's very important to remind ourselves, like, who is listening to our podcast is more important than how many people are listening to it. I think understanding that difference is going to help you become a better podcaster or a better blogger or whatever it is you want to be. Your work equals who's listening, who's watching. It's not about your friends supporting your friends not, because I used to really get mad over that. When my friends didn't share my stuff, I'm like, what kind of a friend are you? Why didn't you do this? But I think it's important that they don't know your stuff and they don't want to put something out there that can directly impact their image of whatever image they have on social media. So I think it's very important to understand that. What's your fifth and last thing?
My fifth lesson for this year is consistency and discipline over, intensity. So this is basically from going to the gym, right? So for me, because I've been going regularly to the gym this year, I've realized that just showing up is 90% of the work. You don't have to, necessarily have the progress that you want immediately, which is why I say the intensity, or like, let's say you're like lifting 5 kgs, next you want to lift 7.5 and then 10. It's not necessary that you have to level up every single time you hit the gym. For me, I realized that it's okay not to do that, and it's okay just to show up and be consistent in showing up. You can even do like 30 minutes of cardio, which I'm getting myself to do it, because every time I go to the gym, I'm like, no, I need to have this elaborate 1.5 hours workout with, like, including 30 minutes of cardio, which is not necessary. It's okay to just show up, do 30 minutes of, cardio when on days that you don't feel like, hitting the gym. So that's what I've learned. It's okay to be at the level where you are at times when you don't feel like, doing something. So just showing up is a huge, huge plus for me. And I'm learning to accept that it's okay to just show up and not be perfect, not have like an elaborate gym session. This can apply to everything else, right? It's okay to just show up and do something and not expect it to be perfect. Yeah, that's my
Yeah.
last lesson
Wow.
for this
So
year.
such different, but also like such similar experiences we both had, such lessons that we both had. What other lessons people have learned? I'm very curious to know that. I feel like 2023 was a roller coaster year for so many people, even like people around me. Everybody was going through something or the other. I don't mean like a bad, like even good stuff was happening. And I think even that will, give you lessons. And I'm curious to know what people went through. Just let us know, because we're like gearing up for 2024. What can we take into that from your lesson? Like, we want to know that. So let us know in the Q&A box. But that's all for today's episode.
Yeah, if you're too shy, then use the not gonna lie link. If
Yeah,
you're
you
too
can
shy
do
about the
that.
lessons that you learned this year.
Yeah, if you don't
But
want
do
to like
it.
expose,
You
yeah,
want to
that's
know.
fine. Yes, we do. Like, use the NGL link. We have it in the description. So please use that. And yeah, the usual rate, review. Just give us a review, guys. Come on, come on. Take 5 seconds. Do it. It really helps us find
Yeah,
other
and
people
everybody
that.
who's reviewed us has given 5 stars. So thank you for
Yes,
that.
we want to know who are these people. Thank you so much. We really appreciate that.
Yeah, we're so glad. And I really got a few DMs on Instagram saying that, this episode was really nice. The manifestation episode was nice. The perfection episode was really nice. And they related to it. And I am like, oh my God, people are finding it relatable. And that it made us so, so happy. And,
Yeah.
Messages like these make us want to keep doing this on a
Yeah.
weekly basis.
Send us a message, like if you want to be featured on our Instagram too. Like if you're okay with your name being out there, we'd love to do that. We also have like, what our listeners are saying on our highlights on Instagram. We also have an Instagram for 20s in transition. So go follow us on Instagram. Everything is in the description. And let us know if you want, if you have like any thoughts on what you want us to record, like topics that you want us to cover. You send your link or the feedback form or Q&A box, whatever works for you. DM us. We're pretty cool people. Yeah, we are.
Yeah, we'd like to think we are. But anyway,
we
don't forget
are.
to rate us and follow us, like Anusha mentioned. And with that, we've come to the end of this episode. Thank you for listening. We are very grateful. And
thank you. Yeah. See you in the next episode. Bye.